All right. Good morning, everyone. You are welcome to the two-day seminar organized by ICON, Institute of Church Office Management. And I want to trust God that at the end of this program, we'll have reason to thank God that we are part of this seminar. We'll be gaining special skills on how to tackle challenging problems plaguing the office management, not limited to church alone, how to coordinate resources, manage volunteer efforts, and streamline all operations with seasoned professionals. Most times we have difficulty in when we have multi-dimensional involvement and ability to coordinate them because we don't have seasoned one to handle them. So the essence of this seminar is to actually unveil to us salient skills to coordinate resources that will help our churches and also to coordinate volunteer efforts. Especially in the season we have and the things that is happening in the churches all around now, we have to be more seasoned to handle volunteer efforts in order to achieve our target goal. So this is the essence of this seminar. And I want to let you know that you will never regret being part of this seminar. We have seasoned uh, uh, speaker, facilitator that will unveil certain things to us that is not known. And by the time you are keying into it, you have a different picture of management of churches, managing volunteer efforts, streamlining multi operations that demand from you unnecessarily. So you'll be unveiled to those things and you have a better management skill for your churches and your organization. I want to welcome you again, the staff and the management of HICOM. Welcome all the participants to this 2 days seminar. And I want to let you know that you will not regret. We have a seasoned speaker that is coming online to take us on the first leg of this, and we'll be talking on church management practice. And then we'll come back later after a short break and give you the download of so many things. Please stay tuned as we welcome the next speaker. Thank you. My name is Ogulano David Omotayo, the director of the program.
Yeah, good morning all. Can we unmute our speakers and let's hear ourselves at least briefly?
Morning.
My name is Wasil Salami. I think for many of us, if I'm guessing right, this will not be the first time we are meeting. I remember a couple of months ago, we had something similar to this. But for the benefit of those who are just joining for the first time, as I said, my name is Wasil Salami. I'm a doctoral student at the University of Ibadan, currently undergoing my field work. I also work as a senior digital content executive at TVC News in Lagos. So today we are looking at two different aspects of our life and aspect of our profession, as well as aspects of our religious life. But in this perspective, the church. We're looking at church leadership and administration and managing church personnel. So these two topics with some other subtopics are what we are going to look at today. We'll try as much as possible to make it as interesting as possible and very participatory and practical in the sense that instances that will be brought up will be things that you can easily familiarize yourself with and remember when you are putting the lessons or the things that you have learned here today into use. So once again, welcome on board, and we'll be looking at church leadership and administration. To start with, I am very sure the word church is not alien to us. nor the word leadership or administration. We are quite familiar with the three concepts, if I may put them that way. However, when there is a nexus between the nexus between the three of them might not be totally clear. And that is the whole essence of having this conversation today. Under the church leadership and administration, we are also expected to look at the leadership theory, style, and types, church administration, church administrative strategy, and managerial decision making. These are things that are embedded under the first topic, church leadership and administration. So to start with, do we have anybody with any knowledge of what leadership and administration is, or in brief, there's a dichotomy at all? Is there any difference between leadership and administration? Do you have anybody who can just make it interesting for us? Anybody trying? Hello? You can unmute yourself if you want to say something. I hope you are hearing me very well.
Yeah, we're hearing you. I get you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm hearing clearly, sir.
Okay. That's good. So what I said is that, okay, do you have anybody who want to attempt anything so that we just know that, okay, we are not totally, those things are not totally strange to us. Is there any difference between leadership and administration, or are they the same? Okay, in order not to waste much of our time, because we have this 1 hour already gone. It was meant to start at 10 based on what I was told. But I guess some administrative challenges would have pushed it up to this time. This is 11 o'clock already. Let's go straight to what we are discussing if nobody has anything to say for now. When you talk about church, we know as Christians and Muslims, we have places of worship, and we know definitely the place or places of worship are made up of different elements, made up of human beings, made up of material and both human and resources. And there is need for us to actually coordinate, manage, and even direct all these both human and material resources. So, church cannot be church without leadership and administration is just an abstract phenomenon that may not function. So in order for us to put all these human and material resources into use for the purpose in which they are being set up, so there's need for us to have leadership, and there's need for us to have administration. So for admin, admin,
Yeah, you can please go on, sir.
so for us to understand the perspective very well, each and every one of you has a church that you manage or that you attend. And you'll agree with me that the church is a combination of human and material resources. So where the human being that attends the church, the chairs, the capital, every single thing that you make use of in the church, they are also very important to the church running or the church progress or the system. So in order to coordinate, manage, and effectively put into use these resources for the purpose in which the church is set up for, so there is need for leadership and there is need for administration. So we know quite very well that church itself, I mean, administration itself is what we do every day. This particular moment we are, the process of putting this particular seminar together had involved both leadership and administration, getting the resource person, getting the participant, getting every material there is also a function of administration. So, and the extent to which is very successful is also determined by the leadership style, by the leadership format, by the leadership skill exhibited, and the possibility of coordinating and putting all these things together, which is administration, to determine or go a long way in telling us what leadership and administration is talking about. Like the host actually said, it is not what we are discussing here may just be around church. but it's still a knowledge that is relevant to every aspect of our life, be it in our workplaces or in our home, at our homes or what have you. So, effective management of resources and giving direction on how such resources are managed, which is leadership, is what cannot be limited to the church alone. However, for the purpose of this particular discussion, we are limiting it to church leadership and administration. And I have said, church is made up of human and material resources, running the drum set, the everything that you talk about, the human being, the personnel, the membership. So for a church to be very effective, for a church to meet with its set desire, the set goal, there is need to be a symbiotic relationship between the leadership and the administration. So while the leadership talks about those personnel who are saddled with the responsibilities of putting into use the human and material resources, the style they adopt, the orientation they have, the skills they possess, everything that they put together in order to lead and direct human and material resources, which is leadership. And the process through which that coordination, analysis, presentation, and effective use of those human and material resources, which is administration, are being put together, will go a long way in determining the success of a church. Of course, we know church is a place where you worship God. It goes beyond that because people will direct, people will lead. There will be need for money, there will be need for personnel to be there. So if the leadership is faulty and the process in which those individuals are being managed is not well coordinated, the church might not achieve its goal. Of course, you go there, you pray, you do your worshiping, but there are some other day-to-day running of the church that will suffer, that you won't be able to have such thing done. So if you don't have effective use of leadership skill, the leadership skill is faulty, the administrative skill is not to write home about, then the essence of church will not be achieved. So when you talked about leadership, leadership is the skill, the individual, the personnel that is built with the responsibility of leading and giving direction for others to follow. A leader in a church is such an individual who, either by virtue of the position he occupies, or by the virtue of the role he plays, or by the position that makes him receive, gives direction, leads people such that they follow. That is leadership. So the quality of a leader, to a very large extent, is a function of many things. And when we talk about the function of many things, it talks about personal traits, talks about educational traits, talks about exposure, talks about technical skills. So all these factors are put together will determine the effectiveness of the leader. We are we have understood the fact that a leader is that individual, whether appointed, selected, or you have imposed yourself on the people. But what you are doing is that you are giving directives, you are giving leadership, you are telling people this is what to do and this is how to do it. So that is leadership. So, and the person that occupies the position of leadership is a leader, be it a man or a woman. It could be elected, selected, or appointed, or imposed. That must be certain. So a leader cannot emerge in vacuum. It is either you emerge as a result of nobody is leading, and you naturally create that leadership skill and assume the position, and you suddenly become one. You must emerge through anyway. However, in church, we are all know, we all know that a church is led by either the pastor, the bishop, or the leadership, the most topmost leader in the church, appointed, selected, or posted by the supreme body that oversees the affairs of that particular church. And there are some other sub leadership arms that are saddled with the responsibility of day-to-day running of the church. If a church is headed by a pastor, you don't expect the pastor to be also be the one that will see whether the church is kept clean, whether the church has lights or whether it has this or has that. So there are individuals that are saddled or given such responsibilities. So each and every individual that has a role to play in church is also a leader in his or her own right. And they must give directive, they must lead right, they must do everything such that the purpose of the church, which is to serve God, meet the demands of the members of the church, and also cater for the needs of the immediate environment, is not being jettisoned. Because when leadership is at fault, the purpose of the church itself, can be hampered. So a leader emerges, a leader is gone, a leader is elected, a leader is selected, a leader is elected, or a leader is imposed himself. So, but what are those theories? What are those things that you know naturally, that when you talk about leadership, what are those things that must be inherent in a leader, that you just look at, okay, oh, this is leadership skill. What are those things that must be seen in such? So that can easily be phrased under the leadership theories in church. The leadership theories in church is not totally different from the general leadership that we have. However, because we are talking about religious setting, okay, before I go into that, there's something I want us to know. You know that management of personnel and human resources, material resources, is something that happens everywhere. But what distinguishes the church leadership or management or administration from the regular office or corporate world is this, because there is a spiritual attachment to the church. A leader in the church and a leader in a corporate world, they both perform leadership skills, they both lead. But why the leaders in the church are expected to be guided by the spirit, by the spiritual belief of what the scripture says in the Bible, the corporate leadership is guided by the regulations that the organization sets up. So you can see the difference. So while it is important for a leader in the church to have the corporate experience of managing individuals, he or she has in addition the spiritual understanding of what the doctrine of the religion he or she belongs to is. So you don't just live based on your own imagination, based on your own thing. While a leader in the corporate world might be driven by meeting the objective of the organization, at the end of the day, making profits and what have you. The church is not set up to make profits. So it's set up to either win souls, provide for the needs of the people, ensure that there is a coordination, there is a harmonious relationship between and among members and the society and every other groups within the society. So that is very important for us to know. However, what are those theories? Do we have anything that actually asks that you can say, okay, if I am a leader and I behave this certain way, what are those things that shape or that influence my behavior or my style of leadership? What are those things? So there are several leadership theories in which individuals who find themselves or are appointed or selected can adopt or that influence them. So one of them is leadership by transformation, which I call transformational leadership. Transformational leadership is such a leadership theory which explains that a leader who is influenced by transformative ideology is such an individual who sees the need for him or the need for every member of the church to be very, very developmental, to understand effective church leadership, to understand there is need for them to be developing. Developing in the sense that they have a certain growth level, not in terms of physical presence, but in terms of mindset, in terms of what they are, looking at their economic status, looking at their welfare, looking at their even education. So when you are guided by transformative leadership theory, you are such a leader whose concern is about how to make people grow, how to see them leave the present status, how to make them better beyond what they are. If someone is a member of your church and the highest level of education he has as at the time he joined his SSC, as a transformative leader. You are expected to drive such an individual in such a way he will see reason in proceeding with his or her own education. If you are such a leader, you are tilting towards or you are guided by transformative leadership theory. If an individual is such a person that who is just an artisan, and all he does is wherever there is a carpentry work, he just jumps up and down. But you have advised him or her to be, why don't you adopt digital skills? Make your work known on the social space such that people who are not within your immediate reach can see what you are doing. So a transformative leader who adopts a transformative leadership theory is such an individual who tries as much as possible to ensure that he changes the status, he changes the orientation, he promotes, he allows members to grow. And there is a sense of community and encouraging them to ensure that they have a personal growth and development. That is a particular theory. Excuse me. A particular theory. Excuse me. That is a particular theory of leadership. Another aspect of it is what it is expected for every one of us here to be familiar with or to have been adopted, which is servant leadership theory. A servant leadership theory is, as it is sound, as it is known for, as it is being described, as such one that is meant to always think about those people that you are leading. It is always about thinking about every member of the church, their welfare, their this, their that, to an extent that you may even forget your own personal life. In as much as that may not be totally possible. But a servant leader, which is from servant leadership theory, explains that a servant leader is such a leader whose interest is always about how his members, his followers will grow. So he considers himself as not he or she is selecting growth on others in order to serve them. The question now is that, do we really have anybody who is a servant leader? Do we have anybody who does that? The question may come up, or the answer to the question may come up maybe in the course of our conversation. But servant talks about ability to always put the needs and the progress of every member of the church ahead of yours. So you see their problem as yours. You see their need as yours. You see their progress as yours. So you are there to lead them. You are there to provide for them. You are there to guide them. Not that you expect anything. You don't turn yourself to a police station or to a police officer who visits you. You give him something. When you visit, you also give him something. But as a servant leader, you are there to provide leadership. You are there to serve their need. You are there to lead selflessly. You are there to serve the followers. So the third one is a situational leadership theory. A situational leadership theory is not static. Is not sacrosanct, is neither transformational nor servant. It's that leadership theory that allows a leader to adopt a particular style or a particular mindset according to the situation. That is why they call it situational. If you know that, okay, there's time for you to be transformational, you tell your member, please do this, go and do that, go and do that. If there's a time for you to do it for them, you do it. So it's a situational leadership. So you are not going to be very permanent. You adopt that style or that leadership skill based on the situation that you have. Let's say, for instance, in a church where you preside, there is need for you to actually think that, if I tell these people this is what I want you to do, it may appear as if you are being dictatorial. If you do it or everything for them, you may sound as if you are a fool. However, the situation on ground now determines which of the styles of leadership or the leadership theory you adopt. So, studying the situation and adopting the best method to solving the problem or addressing an issue is a situational leadership theory that explains that. So, it is a style that posits that effective leaders must adopt their style to the maturity and competence of their followers. If you want to be like if you are in a town that is dominated by one by the blind, you don't go there and display that you are what? You have your two eyes. You will adopt the situation. You adapt to the situation, so to say, because you are dealing with individuals. If you are in a place where all of them are deaf and you want to lead them, you must behave like them in order to catch them. If you are in a place where you feel that okay, oh, these guys are youth and you are a bit older, you must understand the language they understand. You must understand the slang they use. You must understand the pattern of dress, everything. That is situational. The reason for this is to have effective leadership. Is for you to carry them along. Is to everybody for everybody to actually believe. So I know in a church you cannot have a church that is dominated by a single class of individuals. It's going to be a mixture of the old, the young, the aged, and everything. And in terms of economic status, you have the poor, you have the middle class, you have the high class, and so on and so forth. So, what this leadership style is, I mean, theory is talking telling us rather, sorry about that, telling us that you must understand the maturity, you must understand the system, you must understand the ideology and the understanding of your members for you to know what theory of leadership is guiding your behavior or your leadership style. So if you don't know them, you know there's this popular thing that says that what you don't have, you cannot give. So you don't understand people that you are leading. If, for instance, this particular seminar that we are having, if we have a mixture of people that can understand English language fluently, we have people that barely understand it. We may not be able to communicate very well if English, a fluent English language is the one we adopt. Instead, we can be situational. We can mix it up either by speaking Yoruba or by speaking Pidgin that we feel that every other person in attendance will what? Will go. So that is situational. I can decide to, okay, do everything for you. That is servant. And I can try to begin to say that, Mr. Labaja, Pastor Labaja, have you done this? Transformational. Being concerned about the development of everybody so that there is higher level of performance. So theories that shape the ideology of a leader can either can be transformational, can be in terms of servants, and can be situational. So whichever you search your mind in all these years of our leadership skills, in all these years that you've been leading people, which one do you think you have adopted most? If the one you are adopting in the past, by now you now realize that, oh, I have failed in this, or I have not performed very well in this, please adopt change orientation, adopt situational, looking at those individuals such that you are not being easily being preempted. It is not really good that people preempt you and say, I trust Pastor, he will do this now. And before you know, you've done it. They are not being situational. They should not be able to preempt you. There are certain times that you need to put people in suspense. That, oh, I don't want people to really know this is a. So once you are known with a particular style, people will get your money button, as Vince said. They will get your key, and it is what you want to hear that they will do. But when you are not there, but let's get them, catch them unawares, so that you know that, oh, this is pastor. Is very dynamic. Is very what? Dynamic. Not a particular style of leadership that you adopt or a theory that is. So you have to bring all these theories into place and adopt them based on the situation you find yourself. I think we understand that very particular. So leaders are guided by the orientations, and there are three different forms of orientations that we are looking at here: transformational, servant, and being situational. So either of the three that you adopt or a combination of the three will give you effective leadership skill, and you'll be seen as someone who is leading and getting or carrying people along. Hope you get that. So quickly we can look at, having understood the theories. A theory gives us a foundational explanation of what a concept is. So wherever you find yourself, you can now know that, oh, this is what he is driven by this. He is driven by that. That is exactly what we have done. So that theory only provided us a background into leadership is about. So, but what are the styles and types of leadership that we have? Every one of you is a leader in our own right. Which one do you prefer most? Which one have you adopted? How has it fared? How has it helped in getting the desired result? Remember, the ultimate goal is to get the desire or the objective of the church achieved. So if your style does not or has never helped in delivering on the need or the goals of the church, there's need for you to actually change your style. So which style of leadership do you adopt? There are several types of leadership and styles that we are going to look at. A few of them here. The first one we're looking at here is authoritative. Authoritative is synonymous with always giving order. Do this, do that, Mr. Yes, but no, no. Obey the first or the last command. So, if you are a leader whose style is authoritative, is it that whenever you say it, nobody dares you, nobody changes it, you don't change your position, you are being authoritative, autocratic in nature. This is somehow related to the military regime, where you know that decree, the military rules by decree. Decree, so. You know that if we are all Nigerians, I guess. Let me bring an instance. State creation and local government creation in Nigeria. No civilian administration has been able to create states in Nigeria. Why do you think so? Do you think because they don't know that they need to? But because of the politics that is involved, and many of the styles of democratic, of a civilian administration is democratic. Because the process that is involved, sending a bill to the National Assembly, the 360 in the House of Reps, and the 109 senators in the Senate, they will deliberate. Interest, they will lobby, local will do everything before that is done. So the process is somehow cumbersome that they are unable to actually scale through the process. But compare that to a military era where they rule by decree. They don't consider, they don't seek anybody's opinion. All they do is that, okay, the Mr. Head of State will just use his fiat and rule by decree, announce it, whether you like it or not. If you protest, they can turn gun at such individual. So that is autocratic style. It's authoritative in nature. Final word is for him. So you don't negotiate, you don't do anything totally based on what he wants. So it is what he or she wants is what he wants. So this is a style of leadership that the man in position of authority gives order. He gives order, involves decision independently, takes decision independently, and expecting the congregation members to what? To follow. But the question is that really possible for us to have? Can we really achieve anything? The answer to that is that there are certain times that such a decision is very necessary. Because delay at times will prevent you from taking good things. And they say good things never come easily. So being authoritative is such that you independently take a decision and you impose it on others, on the members that you are presiding over. So while it can ensure quick decision making that is clear and also very directive, it may also stifle input and what? And collaboration. That is disadvantage. While you know that, oh, pastor, this is what I want to do by tomorrow, everybody must be in church 8 a.m. You have negated other robust ideas that you are likely to benefit from your members if you adopt such a style. So there's nothing that has a pro without its cons. So authoritative leadership is such that directive, authority, command flows directly from the top down to. So you are not negotiating anything with anybody. You are not deliberating anything with anybody. Next to that is the democratic, which is more or less like the opposite of what I just discussed. Democratic is that okay, you will involve people to sit together as a pastor, as a general overseer. You have your elder council members. They all sit together. Oh, tomorrow, how do we do this year's convention? What and what do we need? All of them sit around you. You will do this. You deliberate. At times, your opinion might not be the best, but you listen to all of them. They give input, and at the end of the day, what you just do is to ratify what they say. But inputs are from other members of the party. I mean, of the congregation or the committee, in whatever form. So you have them there. So the advantage of this is that you have very robust conversation. However, it slows down decision making. Democratic style slows down what? Decision making. While it allows sense of belonging. Pastor, Sister Labaja has a very brilliant idea. I love the idea that you shared. But do you know that if 10 of you are meeting, you are not likely to agree on a certain thing? So when you are unable to agree on a certain thing, you adjourn the meeting. Oh, let us meet again. Oh, let us meet again. Decisions that could be taken once by an authoritative leader will now be prolonged because you wanted people to be involved. So authoritative gives that sense of belonging. Everybody sees it as their own. Everybody sees it as his own. What's it called? Their own business and their own decision. Unlike the authoritative style, that, oh, they can grumble. They might not say it to your face, but they are not satisfied that this man will just come and just take decision without consulting anybody. So that one kills the morale. You are unable to see. You see things only from your perspective. However, it enables quick decision making and it's faster. That, oh, don't worry, papa. But the democratic, why that one allows you to have engagement and robust discussion with individuals, it also slows down decision making. There are a lot of bottlenecks. And this one is synonymous with the democratic system of government that we have. That is why I brought out the idea. Look at it since 1999, Obasanjo, Yar'Adua, Jonathan, Buhari, and the current administration. None of them has been able to say that, okay, we are creating, not because there's unity, but because of the process that is involved. The bill, the deliberation in the National Assembly, and so on and so forth. Do you know that the local government autonomy that we are talking about, if it were to be in the military, this thing would have been pronounced. If it will be autocratic style. But now, the National Assembly will deliberate. The 36 state houses of assembly, 2 will deliberate. Out of the 36, it can only be 10. It can be 10, it can be 20. And before you know, the whole thing is delayed. So, democratic style of leadership allows for robust deliberation, brings sense of belonging, gives you better ideas and suggestions. However, it slows down decision making. Hope we get that right. The next one that we know is what we regard to be as sit down look, laissez-faire style of leadership. Laissez-faire is that you just allow them to do it. You are not involved. So in democratic, both of you deliberate. You are not involved in laissez-faire. Sit down look. As a leader, okay, what do you want to do? You want to do, yeah, go and do it. Come back and give me the feedback. It is what they do. However, to emotion, sentiments, bias, and what have you set in, they can plot against the leader because you have allowed them to do it. There is an adage in Yoruba that if we allow a madman to do the body of his or her mother anyhow, do you know it is possible for him to burn in and begin to eat it? That is just it. So if you don't get yourself involved, if you hear gbe from anywhere, it's better you join them in carrying it. Otherwise, they will dump in at your backyard. So laissez-faire is a style of leadership that allows members, followers, to take decisions while the leader just to pretend and ratify it. The leader is never involved in it. But it has its own advantage that, okay, you are preparing them to become good leaders. That is a very good advantage of it. But in the other side of it, it does not give the best. Because as a leader, it is expected that you have something better than every other person. You are not better, but a leader thinks faster, sees what other member are not seeing. But when you are not involved in the process of deliberation, all they do is to bring a resolution to you. You are limited by the knowledge, by the information that led to the resolution there. And that may hamper effective implementation. So it encourages autonomy, there's no doubt about that, and creativity, but may lead to lack of structure and accountability. When the thing flows, they now say, who did it? Who gave this? I don't know. Hey, Kiniko, I don't. So you begin to shift blame. So but the buck will now stop on the table of what? Of a leader. So the last one is just what we refer to as a pastoral leadership. So the pastoral leader focus on the well-being and spiritual growth of their congregation. There's a slight difference between this and transformative leadership theory. But pastoral leadership also derives its root from the from transformative leadership theory. Because as a leader, as a pastor in the church, you are not only expected to look at the economic welfare of what? Of your member. You are also expected to look at their spiritual growth. That is why you have prayer warriors in the church. You have prayer on Sunday, you have it on Wednesday, and so on and so forth. Because that when there's need for you to do spiritual battle, you have individuals that you grow with. When you see that a member of a church is declining in terms of faith, is not attending churches, what do? You either visit him, you call him and have Brother Lagbaja, Sister Tamedo. Why have you not been coming to church? We've not been seeing you here. You are concerned about their spiritual growth. That is a pastoral leadership style. So, and as a leader in the church, this is a must for you to have. It's a must. You shouldn't be a leader whose church members will be attending churches once in 2 months and you never care. No, it is not good. It is not good. So, you must imbibe that particular style such that you have an understanding of what is going on economically in the lives of your congregation, as well as in their spiritually, what is going on in their life. So, as a leader, you are either going to be authoritative, democratic, laissez-faire, or pastoral. So, as authoritative, you give directive. This is necessary. At this critical time, I don't want to listen to anything. This is what we are going to do. So, as a democratic leader, you engage them, you deliberate, you bring mixed minds on certain things, and in order for you to have a very robust outcome, laissez-faire, allow them to do it, put them in that position. It gives them autonomy. You breed them for leadership position. However, that one too has its own advantage. And the last one is the pastoral. You must be able to be involved in the spiritual growth of your member. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you look at leadership in the church, leadership is the directive, the direction, the pattern, and the individual that occupies the position of authority in the church. There are certain things that they need to know and they need to know. So they must be able to actually put all these things together and do what is expected of them. So the next thing that we quickly look at is church administration. You know, I have said earlier, church is a combination of the human and the material resources. Now, leadership is about the individual that leads, that you can see. Administration is the process of coordinating, implementing, directing, and evaluating and doing everything. So, but the person that is responsible for that is in leadership, whether at the highest level, at the mid class, or at the lowest class. There's always leaders at every level. You understand this thing very well. While the church may be headed by the general overseer, you have a pastors, regional pastors under him. You have sub pastors. You have assistant pastors. You have all these individuals. All of them are leaders in their own right. But there is a hierarchy of leadership. So the church administration is now talking about how do we ensure that things are done properly in the church? How are people being managed? How are resources being managed? How are things being attended to? That is administration. So administration talks about the day-to-day runnings of the church. Leadership is the individual that is the figure who gives the shot, who gives the directive. But the way and manner that thing is carried out is the administration. So a church administration involves managing the church resources, operations, and activities to fulfill its mission and vision. Effective church administration requires a blend of strategic planning, a blend of strategic planning, organizational skills, and a deep understanding of church spiritual objectives. These three things are very key. You cannot be an administrator, that is someone who oversees the day-to-day running of the church, and you are not strategic in your planning. You don't have the organizational skill, how to manage the organization. And you are not spiritually deep. When you are not spiritually deep, you are not even supposed to be there. Because you are dealing with the spiritual life of individuals. So the first one that I mentioned there is strategic planning. Developing a strategic planning involves setting long-term goals. This is also in the corporate world. You shouldn't be a short-sighted individual. You must not be a myopic, someone who only thinks about now. You must be seen as someone who does things and projects. So strategically, you must be able to plan ahead. That next year, this is June 27th, December is coming. What program are we going to have towards the end of the year that will make it more interesting than what we had last year? As a strategic planner, you are already thinking about it now. And you are also having a spiritual understanding of how you are going to incorporate the spiritual need of the people into your programming. And you must also understand the organizational skills that, okay, this is how to manage human being because of the different styles and individuals that are within. So you must be able to do that. Another important thing that church administration involves is financial management. My brothers, we all know, no matter how religious is, I am a Muslim, you understand? Money is both in the church and even in the mosque. If you are a leader and you are seen as someone whose interest is all about siphoning, sitting, or just misappropriating the resources of the church, there is no how spiritual people are. They will fight you. No matter how respectful you are to them, you will be disrespected because money is involved. So, in managing the church, you must have financial management skills. So, responsible financial management is crucial. Let me make it clear. It is not that monies are being stolen or monies are being uh, spent on it. It is misappropriation of resources. As a financial manager in a church, you must be able to align the church needs to the resources they have. You must be able to draw up your scheme of preference such that every kobo that is being spent is in alliance with the needs of the church and its members. If you are just spending without putting into consideration the financial strength of the church, one, the need of the members of the church, two, and the frequency or flow of income of the church, you are likely to be having problem with your church members. So church administration also requires financial management. And if you want to be sincere with me, you will know that many of the problems that the church had or has had or will be having, many are also from resources management, especially the monetary part. So you must judiciously spend the resources of the church because it's a resource that is put together by every member, both the rich and the poor. That is why the church is a congregation of individuals. So you must effectively manage that in order to sustain the needs of the church. So this includes proper budgeting, fundraising. You must have that skill. who can we reach? How can we see this individual? What business can we do again to keep having, not running out of resources, out of financial resources? So you must be very accountable. You must also ensure that you are very, very transparent. If you are not transparent, Yoruba will say, when you are talking to your friend's wife in the room, leave the door open, because if God sees your heart, let him and too see your mind. You don't give room for hidden things that people will begin to guess. Once they start guessing and you are not being transparent, they will nail you. And once there is a financial accusation, forget about it. It scatters things. Not only it can scatter more, it can scatter anything. You can, we have had cases where EFCC or ICPC are trailing leaders in religious institutions. So it's because many of them are not transparent. They misappropriated the resources. So you must have your financial intelligence must be very high for you to have an effective church administration. The third one is human resource management. This is very key as well as others. A church is a congregation of different brains, minds, ideas, background, nurtured differently, tribes. So imagine you are not good at managing people. You are hot-tempered. Your level of temperament is very, in fact, you are likely not being able to manage people very well. And one of the ways that you can manage individual is that you will first and foremost believe that we are not equally nurtured. God might have created us equally, but we are not equally nurtured. Our orientations, our beliefs, our social life differ. A child born by the same mother, or children born by the same mother, the same father, even twins that are born the same day, behave differently. So one of the tools that you are to use for effective management of human resource is to believe that humans are very, very dynamic. We are not the same. So you should not expect people to behave the same way you behave. If you are such a leader who thinks that because I am always quiet, everybody must no. Because I don't always argue. No. You must understand and you have a listening ear. You should be able to. That is why you are a leader. Even no matter how stupid the ideas or the argument of anybody is, please listen very well. Because remember, you are in a church setting that is guided by spiritual understanding of the scripture and even the individuals that attend the church. So you are not in a corporate organization where there is a goal that you are going to meet, and there is this organization. This is what we are targeting, where many individuals don't have a say. In a church setting or in a religious setting, they have a say. They must have a say. You must listen to them. That makes you an effective leader. So your human resource management skill must be top notch. This includes clear role definition. You must, if you are giving assignments, you must give it clearly. You don't just be ambiguous. You don't just give them not information that is not clear to them. You must be able to. So it's also, you should be able to also do what we have, performance evaluation. If you are evaluating someone, you must be able to separate your personal understanding of the character of that individual and from what he or she is doing. You must be able to do that. You must also be able to ready to be a team player by fostering positive work environment. As a leader, don't adopt a divide and rule style. It's bad. A divide and rule style is what? Is bad. You should be seen. You should lead by example. So leading by example involves giving an understanding that everybody is equal, relating with them. Even when someone had come to you to say, oh, brother Tunji says this and this, you don't conclude on what that individual had come to you until you confront him or her on what you have been told that he said, and give a benefit of doubt. You give a benefit of doubt. Benefit of doubt is that, okay, this is what they said. You say, no, I didn't. Okay. Then it's okay, fine. Yoruba will say, the one who abuses the king in absentia and sees the king and denies that respects the king. If you understand Yoruba, they said, ẹni tó bú ọba lẹ́yìn ọba tó sẹ́, tó wá, ẹni tó bú ọba lẹ́yìn ọba tó wá rí ojú ọba tí ó sẹ́, ó ṣe kí ni? Ó bẹ̀rù ọba ni. Because you could have, the same person would have said, hey, yes, I said it. What are you going to do? You know that is very, very disrespectful. And that means the leadership quality and the respect and regard the person has dropped. But always give a sense of, a benefit of doubt. That, okay, truly, if you don't say that, it is done, I believe. However, in case you have that, don't think of having such a mindset. So the next thing we are looking at is what are the administrative strategies and managerial decisions in an organization that you should be able to understand. As a leader, you know that, okay, you need to be very, very top notch in terms of human and material resources management and human resources management. However, what are those administrative strategies that you can adopt in making decisions? So your vision and mission must be very, very aligned. You don't understand. You know what a vision is and what a mission is. This is what we want to do, and this is how we want to do it. This is where we are going, and this is how we get there. The two must be what? Synchronous. So the two must be very symbiotic. You cannot have a mission that is pointing at the right or left, and you have a vision that is pointing at the left. They will not. They must be together. So for you to be effective manager of the church, in terms of managing the administration of the church, you must have a vision and a mission that is well aligned. You must not be seen as someone who is so disorganized. You must not be seen as someone who is so disorganized. The next one is that there must be effective communication. Do you know that ineffective communication breeds rumor mongering, or not a lack of information at all? Where you don't have anything from leaders, you have given room for what? For rumor mongering. And once they begin to rumor, my brothers, you are creating problem not only in the church, even in the entire life of individual. Because people will begin to say several things. But when you keep the channel of communication very straight and very effective, the information is not distorted. Encoding it, they are decoding. As they are decoding, you are getting the feedback that they are getting it. So there must be effective communication. You must be able to communicate effectively. If you are giving order, give it straight. If you are sending someone, ensure that there is no distortion in the message you have sent someone to pass across to individuals. So you must be able to say, clearly, this is what I am saying, and you must be able to avoid the use of ambiguous words that people can misinterpret. Your decision-making process must be the one that evaluates options. When you are deciding, you know, in the style of leadership that we talked about, democratic, laissez-faire, authoritative, and even pastoral. Here, one of the qualities of effective church administration and managerial decision making is that your decision process must be must involve options evaluation. But imagine if you are such an individual who takes decision all alone, will you be able to have a very robust evaluation of your options? So you must ensure that you have options on the table and look at the pros and cons of each of them, so that when you are taking a decision, the best decision is what you are going to take. So it must also be the one that has the one here you will look at what is the impact. Let's take for instance, you are planning for the end of the year party, and you are saying that you want every member of your church to have Ashoebi. You know what is called Ashoebi? That is maybe a common type or pattern of a cloth that you want everybody to buy. And you know your church is a mixture of the high, low, and the middle. And you are telling them, okay, the one we are picking this year is what? Is 50,000 naira. Automatically, you know that there are some people that even if it's 5,000 naira, they cannot afford it. By pegging it at that level, you have already strategically and deliberately shut out some individuals whose interests you are there to represent. So you must look at it that your decision is in the interest of the congregation. If not 100%, at least a very reasonable percentage, you must be able to. So you must be able to have, in doing that, you have committees, you consult with elders or experts. You also involve congregation members in significant decisions so that even when you are derailing, they can easily call you back. People can deliberately allow a leader to fall if such a leader believes in himself and believes that he is the only one who knows it all and nobody knows it. They will look at him and he will fall and they work against him. So you should not create room for that. Let your feedback mechanism be very, very strong. Let your feedback mechanism be what? Very, very strong. That you have your ears on the ground. When you see that a decision is taken and it doesn't go well, don't wait until people begin to grumble or protest before you amend. So another thing that I will look at is crisis management skill. We are all humans, notwithstanding the church. In fact, the highest level of crisis that we have maybe happen even in a religious institution. That is the most funny thing. Because they know that everybody has equal right. All of you have gone there, have gone to the church to serve God. So you should not be seen as better than each other. Unlike in the corporate world, you may not be able to look straight into the eyes of your line manager because you know that he has something ahead of you. But ordinary sweeper in the church can be more spiritual than even pastor at times. God can use a sweeper in the church ahead of a pastor. So that the belief that we are serving God should be there. So when there are crises, you must not be biased in your judgment. You must have effective crisis management skill. You shouldn't be the one who takes side. I am a Yoruba boy. If something now happens between a fellow Yoruba man or woman and an Igbo woman, I shouldn't, because I am a Yoruba boy, and take side, even when I know what the Yoruba woman had done is wrong. No. Your your crisis management skill must be devoid of emotions, sentiments, but pay attention to and be ready to call a spade a spade. Yoruba will say, "Àgbà tí ò bá kẹ́hùn sọ̀rọ̀, ó máa kẹ́tàn sáré," meaning that any leader or elder who keeps quiet where he's supposed to what? To say it out. When the crisis brews or emanates, he will run and pack his slippers. And you begin to see that, okay, he may even be consumed by such crisis. So look at this decision-making criteria rather, and administrative strategy. As a leader in the church, in managing church effectively, you must have your vision and mission well aligned. There must be effective communication. That is, let them know this is what you are saying. Don't give out a pastor says this. You told someone this one, and you are selling another thing. The same information, you are passing it in different ways. You have already led the church, the people in astray. So your communication must be well tailored, such that as you are encoding, they are decoding without ambiguity. So avoid the use of ambiguous words. The next one I mentioned is decision making. Your decision making must involve different options. You weigh the options, you have all the options on the table. And what now determines is the interests of your church member. Remember, you are not just a leader, you are a leader who is leading people. But where you are leading is church, where people have come to serve what? God. The last one I mentioned is crisis management. Crisis management must be devoid of emotions, sentiments, bias, ethnicity, religion, skin, or what have you. So you must be able to be seen as someone who is fair enough in dealing with The last part of it that I'm going to discuss as far as this session is concerned is what are the challenges? I would have loved this aspect to be very conversational, but I don't know. Maybe the not when there are questions we can. In my personal research, where I have my house, I have a church beside me. And since the day I had this particular topic, I have paid more attention. But I had to engage one or two leaders and members of the church as a research student. So to really have an insight, and even some of my colleagues at work to get an insight into the practicality of certain things in the church. So I have this next thing as challenges facing the church administration in Nigeria. In Nigeria, because it goes from even in Nigeria too may be too generic because there are different forms of churches. There are so-called the new generation, that's the style of worship and the people that attend there different from those ones that we grew up to meet. So, but these are some of the challenges that face churches. One of them is poor funding. Poor funding. You may be amazed that this is part of it. Many individuals, many churches are challenged by poor funding, not necessarily because maybe the members in the church they don't have the resources to get or to contribute, but probably the resources are not well channeled to the needs of the church and its members. So, if an effective church administration in Nigeria must not be faced with poor funding because the day-to-day runnings of the church requires money. Okay, let's say for instance, this is the rainy season, and we know that this particular month, June and July, even up to August or thereabout, is we are likely to experience constant uh, downpour. So, if your church is such that it's still at the developmental stage, you are still constructing and doing so, you know that that is more consuming. There was someone who jokingly told me one day that he doesn't like attending the church that is work in progress. And I asked him, what is the church that is work in progress? He said the church that is still, the building is still under construction. Because if you attend every Sunday, there will be need for you to contribute this, to contribute that, to contribute that. But do you know that that may not necessarily be a very good mindset? Because the more you contribute into the development of your church, the more the sense of belonging and ownership that you have in that church. But if you allow it to be owned by certain individuals who are just the ones putting resources there, they will take over the church administration. And before you know, as a leader, as a pastor, you will only be dancing to their own tune because they are the one who pays the piper, the takes the tune. So if they are the one financing the church, what do? They tell the pastor. At times the pastor might forget that he's a spiritual leader and dance to the tunes of those who are financing the church. So a church that is poorly funded might have its own spiritual function being hampered. Because part of the spiritual function is also that you must look after the welfare and the well-being of the church members so that they can concentrate or develop their spiritual what's it called? Spiritual lifestyle. Another thing is lack of data, current data. Many churches cannot really say this is the number of their congregation. These are this is where they live. This is what they do, their source of income. So as a result of that, if you don't know where they live, when you don't see them, you don't have their contact, you don't have their this, you don't have their that. When they disappear, there's no trace. When you don't know their economic capacity, you don't know how to help them. Many people are shy, they might not be able to say what they are going through, they might not be able to tell you, and you not have effective programs to actually cater for their needs. Insecurity is a very huge thing in Nigeria now, if you may agree with me. Many religious institutions or houses have become object of attack, whether in the north, in the southern part of Nigeria. Only God knows why that is happening. So churches are now expanding to an extent that they are getting, apart from the regular security personnel they are now getting the service of external security operatives, which is also increasing. Yeah. So don't you know that it's a psychological torture that you come to church to worship God and you are still not being, your mind is not at peace, that certain individual can come and attack you. It's very, very disheartening that where you have gone to serve God, that you should get the maximum protection from anybody. Yet certain individual will go there and attack. We have seen where people are praying in the mosque and they are being bombarded, bombs are detonated in the churches, in the house, a lot of places. Not to talk about recreational centers or social gatherings. So insecurity is a major challenge that faces church administration in Nigeria. And that is why this is also affecting the spiritual functionality of the church. Part of it is that a church should, if I am as I am a Muslim, if I travel to where I don't know, I should be able to get to any mosque, identify myself, and they give me shelter before I leave. But do you know that that may be very difficult for people to do, including churches? I have seen situations whereby on Friday, because of the nature of the job I do, I close late. And at times, you may see people who are scampering for a bike or what have you to get to their various destination when they don't have it. Many, they may resort to going to churches. But churches now are being more careful because you might say that you have come for worshiping, but yet your mission and vision are different. What if you have come to attack them? So insecurity is gradually making churches to focus on the spiritual functions they have. Another thing that is also not palatable that is hindering the effective administration of churches in Nigeria is at times government policies. You know very well that churches traditionally, apart from individuals that are within the church to listen to them, megaphones and what have you are used. But especially in Lagos, there is a noise pollution act regulations that you are, if you are accused or you are caught, you are guilty of causing noise pollution through your services and whatever, especially at night, you can be sanctioned. There was a time that these particular institutions of government also came up with saying that churches must be paying tax and what have you, also dictating to them the leadership that their leaders must spend so number of times and what have you. So they are now, the policies might be the one that is now seen them as a non-governmental organization or a business venture rather than a spiritual house where people's spiritual needs are being attended to. So, government policies as companies and allied matters act that oh, come and register, come and do this, come and do that. Those things can actually hamper them, especially those churches that are just growing, that are that are located in very remote areas. So government policies also constitute some of the challenges that we have. One of the biggest ones is also corruption. You agree with me, and you know quite very well. Corruption, if churches and mosques are corrupt, the society will fail. That's the truth. People that are in government that state, they go to church to spend the money. They go to mosque to spend the money. Many of them sponsor many of those people that are just returning from Hajj. Many of the corrupt leaders sponsor people to Jerusalem for pilgrimage. So it's only because many churches and mosques have refused to stand against corruption. That is why the society is not free of corrupt practices. So corruption is endemic in many churches and other religious institutions, including mosques. So if churches can effectively tackle corruption, corruption may not necessarily imply misuse, misabuse, or misappropriation of financial resources. It could be using your position to influence what you are not supposed to benefit, or giving people undue advantage because of your position. So that is also corruption, which is also next to what I have just said, poor leadership skills. Imagine all the leadership skills that I mentioned above, none of a leader in a church has at least one. It's going to affect the general output of the church. Because if you cannot communicate effectively, if you cannot reason alongside with your church members, if you cannot give sense of belonging, it's a poor leadership skill. You don't listen to them. You just do things as if you are a one man boko. No. So poor leadership skill is also a challenge that faces what's it called? Church administration in Nigeria. Also, look at this among the church or Christian leaders. You will agree with me, as we have in the Christianity, there are also that in Islam. That is the basic thing. You know very well that not the leadership of Khan does not control virtually all the different types of churches that we have. Even in the leadership of Khan, there are certain disunity that we have leadership crisis. Not to talk about church leadership, your church that you manage. You know how you struggle to reconcile brother Tony and sister Fumi every Sunday, where we are supposed to be morally upright. Many of those individuals there, the problem we have in society are created in different religious institution houses. So that is why to clean the mess in the society, we must clean the religious houses. Churches and mosques must be devoid of all these abuses. So when there is disunity amongst church members, when there is a disunity, you will look at it that you just have to continuously sort result crisis and what have you. So, so far so good. We've been able to look at church leadership and administration. We have looked at the theories that guides leadership. We have looked at the style. We have looked at everything and so on and so forth. So, and we look at the challenges that are. But all these challenges that we talked about, they are surmountable because especially those one that has to do with government policies. There is need for regulation. All you need to do is to work in line with the regulation of the government, and you fine. But disunity among church members, corruption, poor leadership skills, and poor communication, you must effectively work on it as a leader to ensure that this. And one of the ways this can be is constant training seminars with individuals that have seen both in the religious and the social life. Engage them so that they will have all these individuals and they do all sorts of things carried out. So far so good. We've been able to have the first topic itemized, discussed, and analyzed. So do we have any question as far as this is concerned? Any question? We are done with the first set of it, the first topic. Is anybody listening? Hello? Hello?
Yes, they are listening. So if there is any question, I'll leave it to the moderator in the name of I think it.
All right.
If you can hear me, Mr. David, you have the floor now.
All right. Uh, everyone, we that's a deep, 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 deep insight. Thank you, facilitator. We really appreciate Dr. Wasil. Yeah, he has done good justice to that topic. I want to give opportunity for those that will want to ask questions. I know there are questions in our mind. There are questions in our mind concerning what we are trying to, what we're doing. Please, if you have questions, we have few minutes for that session. Then we can move into we have a little break. Then we'll move into the next session of the program. Thank you. If you have any question, please let's have your question now. Let's have your question. If you have any question for the facilitator on the just concluded topic, I want you to unmute your speaker and ask the question and let Dr. Wasil justice to that. God bless you.
So if you have questions, I'm all ears.
All right, since it looks in fact the whole delivery was quite simple and straight. I want to appreciate Dr. Wasil. You have done a really good job. A time like this needs a good sense of leadership, a good sense of management, and a good sense of coordination, especially when the church is going through a lot of different kind of challenges. That topic has really dealt expansively to treat some things that are questions in the mind of the people. And the moment you have such kind of stuff, we we have very little work to do in our organization. I want to thank Dr. Wasil for giving us opportunity and giving us some out of our many schedule in a tight schedule to attend this seminar. We want to appreciate your wealth of knowledge. We want to appreciate everything that you have put together and the materials. I want to thank you for what you have exposed our mindset to, and we'll still be looking for the next leg of this seminar as we go on break for a little while. Then we'll converge again to look at the next leg. A lot of things will also be unveiled in the next leg. Thank you, Mr. Dr. Wasil. We appreciate you. As a participant, I want you to stay tuned just a few minutes. We'll converge again for the next leg of this seminar and another interesting topic that will shape our management skill and ability to coordinate volunteer effort to put our church in the cutting edge in this dispensation. Thank you. God bless you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Please, I don't know if I can be heard. I have a flight to catch. I'm right there in the airport. I have a flight to catch. I might not be able to be at the next leg. So, in case I'm not there, thank you.
Okay, sir.
All right. Thank you. You have heard from the doctor. We'll get back to you shortly. Thank you.
Are you ready to take your church management skills to new heights? Look no further. It's time to answer the call for membership at the Institute of Church Office Management, where professionals unite. RC 1808311, the Institute of Church Office Management, a unified body of professionals, church office managers. Applications are now open for citizens of this world to become members of ICOM. Join a universally accredited community that includes church officers, church secretaries, church workers, church administrators, church consultants, and church managers. As a church manager, you will play a crucial role in supporting pastors and church elders, shaping the vision of the body of Christ. For more information and to apply, visit our website at www.churchoffices.org. You can also contact us via email at churchoffice325@gmail.com or call us at mobile 081 61 666 07059178222 or 08052767192. Membership at ICOM comes in 4 categories. 1. Chartered membership, PCOM, for those who have completed the professional examination and internship program. 2. Chartered fellowship, FCCOM, for members with 5 years of post-chartered membership experience, proudly using the esteemed FCCOM acronym. 3. Doctoral fellow, DFCCOM, possessing a doctorate degree in any of the management sciences and a minimum of 3 years managerial experience. 4. Honorary fellow, an exclusive award for those with 5 years of managerial experience and a bachelor's degree in any management science discipline, or 15 years of experience for those without a relevant degree. Joining is easy. Choose your membership grade level and submit your application. Don't miss this opportunity to elevate your career and be part of something extraordinary. Join the Institute of Church Office Management today. Be a part of the change. Institute of Church Office Management, empowering church leaders.